Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm Mr. here. We are back after a while. It is time for V-colle. So for those of you who remember my last card-based video, it was from the PBD deck profile. I said that there's a lot of V decks I want to cover from V-colle, and so you're going to see a lot of deck profiles for V coming out within the next few weeks. I decided to start day one of the Japanese release with my personal favorite, which is the Liberators with Prominence Core. But you will see definitely more returning faces, like you will see stuff like Saber Dragon, you will see things like Raging Form done through collaborations, you will see some underroos as well, like Bowing Sword Dragon. Yes, I will be doing it personally, so you don't have to worry. There's also other stuff like Tachikaze. I know not a lot of people like him, but I seriously love the deck, so it's again covered. Musketeers. Yeah, there's just a lot of stuff as well. Maybe we may even do budget V decks, maybe just like a cheap ass Chronos Command deck. I don't really know, but there's a lot of things I can and do want to do before DBTO3 drops for this format as well in terms of the language. So generally speaking, in this month of September, you will see a lot of V from this channel, and I really hope you enjoy it, because V really is a diverse format, and if you're sick of Leonard and Lolmerol, it's time to play something more fun and nostalgic. But if you hate nostalgia, go back to Leonard. So let's actually start with Prominence Core. I just put the box there because I really like the box art. So, as y'all probably know by now, Prominence Core is a Legion era boss. The skeleton of the deck kind of came in VBT12 with Percival and Aglovale, but they just became clan staples, so it got really out of hand with Gurgit and Spectral Duke. So I'm kind of glad that they made a relatively balanced deck around them and still maintaining a large part of Liberator flavor. So let's actually get into it. Our grade 3 lineup is obviously 4 copies of Prominence Core, 4 copies of his base form, which is Percival, and I'm going to mention it here, and that is obviously for Heal Guardians. So I'm going to break it down real quick. I'll start with the one I think most people are instantly looking at, and that's the Heal Guardians. Yeah, I'm going to move this guy. The Heal Guardians, honestly, it has a mixed impact on this format in terms of whatever deck you want to play. It really helps the early game if you get it. I have to mention that because some people take it for granted that you always will have this and it will shut down DOTX. Fun fact, not exactly true. I think it's also good that it's still in the base rarity of V-colle, so it's generally going to be affordable. It shouldn't be that expensive. Yeah, like I said, they're really good in the early game to shut down, hard rushes and whatnot. But if you want that damage in the early game, this is going to bite you back. So do choose what decks you do want to play your Heal Guardians in. If you do actually want to take early damage, or you don't mind fighting hard in the early game and then having decent defense in the late game, you definitely do want to go back to your traditional 20k heals. But if you are more leaning towards having a protected early game and then letting your late game be covered by other stuff, then Heal Guardians perfectly do the trick. They're grade 3, so yeah, you can use them for strike, you can use them to search for, you can search them out of your grade 3 searches, which have been heavily reprinted, by the way, so thank goodness for that. We really don't have to worry. So yeah, honestly, V is looking good, especially when they make stuff like this. I've had a lot of fun testing it, and I'll continue playing it. Honestly, whether I choose to play Heal Guardians in my decks, I don't know. I think it really depends from deck to deck and from player to player. So at least I get this out of the way real quick. Then, of course, we will start with Percival. Percival has 2 skills. He has a Vanguard skill, which is that during a turn, all your units on the Excel circle gain 5,000 power. Yes, it may be the first time you're hearing this, but Percival does have a V skill. So yeah, he is still a decent boss. And the second skill, which is obviously his main, most detested part, is when placed on V or R, CB1, if your Vanguard is grade 3 or greater, you discard a card, you gain 1 XL, then you search your deck for Aglovale and Superior Colle. Is this the Legion? Is Legion like this? Hold on, I have a feeling. Hold on. Let me try and see how does the Legion look. Is it like this? Yes, okay, got it. Okay, yeah, that's how that Legion works. Yeah, because in V they kind of do it backwards for some reason with the art. I seriously don't know why. I think Ultimate Razor, Mega Flare, and Dual Flare also got it like really messed up. So yeah, Seekers, well done, you kept tradition. So this is really the main skeleton of not just Core as a deck, but practically every Go Paladin deck, because Percival is just that good. He's not unbeatable, but he's just good. That he kind of warrants you to play in most of your decks, except maybe a pure Ezreal deck, maybe? It's up to you. Now, I would talk about Aglovale, but I'm going to save him for later. And we're going to jump right back to Prominence Core. Because I just needed to bring up Percival and Aglovale first, so you actually have context as to what we're talking about, even though I didn't explain Aglovale. His first skill is Counterblast 1, choose one of your opponent's rear guard, choose one of your own rear guards and retire it, look at the top 4 cards of your deck, Superior Call up to 2 cards from among them, and if Percival, this guy, is in your soul, you can Superior Call up to 4 instead of 2. Very traditional board filling. I don't need to explain this, it's really quite self-explanatory. It's free board, it's Go Paladin. Well done. You trade 1 to get 2 at base value, and if you have Percival, you get up to 4. Of course, 4 is a very small sample size, so yeah, you can whiff. I will not deny that one bit, but that's not to say it's not bad either, because we don't really have a great board filler with just one skill on a single card. I mean, even if you look at Spectral Duke, sure, the deck's a lot better in terms of what it does. It has board filling, it has multi-attacks, but its board filling mainly comes from the combo pieces, not really it itself. Whereas you can just call a trigger, sack it, and call up to 4 if you have the conditions for call. So it's just food for consideration. Is Core better than Spectral Duke? Probably not, but it's definitely a worthy enough contender that it's a decent Go Paladin deck. And the second reason is why. The second skill is homage to its original anime effect, which is the whole Persona Flame Blue linkage stuff with a modern twist. When your rear guard is placed, this guy, as in himself, and the card you call that guy, gets 3000 power each. If the called unit is Aglovale, you get +1 crit until end of turn, once per turn, which means you can stack the 3k again and again and again and again and again for as many times you call. Call from hand, from drop, anywhere it counts. It's just a call. It doesn't have to be superior call. But the critical that you get from calling an Aglovale is only once per turn, and if your opponent is a grade 3. Yeah, I should probably mention that. Only if your opponent is a grade 3. To be very frank, the crit doesn't really help. I mean, it's neat for going second, but if I have to be extremely honest, I would rather go first because I can beat down with a bit better numbers. The +3k to unit that you call that turn helps it nudge over magic numbers to guard. It's not a lot, but it is free, and Prominence Core does become a very big center, which kind of makes it slightly hard to address, but it's not wonderful either. It's just barely making it such that it's good, but it's not like broken, which is kind of the entire V-Core if you think about it. So, except that, guys. So yeah, I think it's not that bad. But you may be wondering, does that mean I have to go into, Percival and then call? So that means my turn 3 is relatively weaker because I'm stuck on a Percival Vanguard? Not true. Let's go through the grade 2s, starting with Aglovale. So, in our deck, we play 4 copies of Aglovale. Aglovale got reprinted, so don't worry. For Fallon, yes, Fallon is back. And for Kaiden, I'll start with Aglovale as promised. Aglovale has 2 skills. His first skill is very similar to his original Legion era skill. When placed on the Vanguard Circle, Counterblast 1, look at the top 3, Super Call 1 card, and put the rest to the bottom of your deck. Do not shuffle. So, it's just a good ride target all along. I think it's neat. So, yeah. There's not much to talk about, but you're not really here for the main ride target. It's good, but the second skill is what you're here for. The second skill is, when it attacks, choose one of your other rear guards and move into the soul. Then this unit gains 10,000 power, and at the end of the battle, it bounces back to your hand. Aggro Veil is a decent magic number beater with board evasion. Yeah, you kind of go -1 because he puts in the soul, but if you think about it this way, if you slide Percival in your soul, it counts for core, which is not bad at all. You just completely cheated that out. Well done. Aggro Veil, obviously, as I mentioned before, is the main trigger for the critical of core, and as you can see in his artwork, there's actually a mini Aggro Veil. That's so cute. So beyond that, it's just really good all around. It helps for board evasion, like I said, because you don't really feel that much pain towards, board sniping, because you can slide your rearguards into soul and bounce it back. It's cleared space, you use core next turn, you fill the board, you fight again. Very simplistic of a Go Paladin deck. It's nothing too, disgusting, nothing too weak either. It's not bad, honestly, and Aggro Veil was a card that was played it is played in a lot of Go Paladin decks, including Gurgit, because Aggro Veil was not the one that was hit, strangely. So it's good that it's being reprinted, so if you're playing Go Paladin, this is a card you might want to pick up. Then we move on to the other new Grade 2 that was introduced, not really new, really is new, to Go Paladin, and that's Liberator of Royalty Felon. Anyone who's been playing Liberators since the beginning is going to miss this guy a lot. He has 2 skills. First skill is on the rearguard circle. During this turn, if you have called a card from your deck to the rearguard circle, it gets 5k. It's a continuous skill, which means even if you call him, he counts. And he doesn't have to be present at the time of calling, so I could call stuff from deck, then call Felon, and Felon will still get this magic 5k number. It's really good because Felon has always been a magic booster, a magic number. So it's good really because of the fact that it has an on-hit too, as you described in the slides. Its on-hit is really simple. It's V or R, this one. When its attack hits, look at the top card of your deck. If it's a unit card, you may choose to superior call it. Unit card counts for both its normal units and trigger units. I just want to put it out of the way because someone asked me today, can I not call a trigger unit? I said, yeah, but it counts under the unit clause. So that was just an interesting interaction I wanted to bring up. So yeah, really good on hit, really good magic number. It's completely free. Felon has 0 cost attached to it at all. But of course, its main downside is the fact that it is just an on hit. If your opponent just guards it, that's it. Felon is easily the best generic out of the entire VCall for Go Paladin. But the fact that it doesn't do anything else besides that is kind of its problem. So if you really don't know what to play in your VCall decks, in your Go Paladin decks, play Felon. But if you have more specialized options, then Felon becomes something that you would not want in your deck. But if you don't know what to put in, I will vouch for Felon. Then we have 4 copies of Kaiden. Kaiden is an interesting one because it was originally from VBT05 and then it was reprinted in the previous V selection. So the fact that we're still playing it is interesting. It has a very simple skill. When placed on the rearguard circle, count last 1, discard 1 card from your hand. Look at the top 3 cards of your deck. Superior call 1 from among them to the rearguard circle. If you have Huel somewhere around the field, V or R, you may draw a card. So if you have the grade 1, you can net back the draw. You can net back the discard. So effectively, it just became a CB1, open 3, call 1, which is like Aggro Veil. So the reason why we are playing Kaiden is because even though we have, we have core to fill the board, I guess we do need more board filling because besides Percival as well as core, there's no other way you plus. I mean, yes, you have Felon, but that's completely behind it on hit. So if you're not willing to gamble on those odds, Kaiden is really the safety net of this deck, which I like. So that's pretty much it. I don't want to drag this video too long. Moving on to grade 1s, we'll start with Howell. And of course, we have 4 copies of Fast Chase Liberator, Josephus, another familiar face for Liberator players. 1 Haugen, it's a flex one, and 4 grade 3 Searcher. let's break it down. Haugen is a flex spot. His skill is when your Vanguard attack hits, you may superior call top card of your deck, or not. If you superior call the top card of your deck from this effect, you have to choose Haugen and retire it. I do not know what to play in this last number 13 slot. If you honestly have something else you like to play, you may go ahead. I just thought it'd be funny to play Haugen as a one-off. Then we have a Great Tree Searcher. If you call 2 more units this turn, it gets 5k. So it's Unite. Yay! Non-cancerous Unite. And of course, it's a Great Tree Searcher. Yeah. I need to mention though that this Great Tree Searcher is VOR in terms of the 5k power, which some Great Tree Searchers actually only are. So just keep that in mind. You could potentially go on the offensive with Gobrok on turn 1. So that's pretty cool. And the 13k booster is nothing to scoff at. Next we have Hoel. Hoel is another example of a power booster. His skill is the unit that was placed in front of this unit or in the same column this unit during your turn gets 5,000 power. If Kaiden, which is the other guy, is present at the time of this skill being used, it gets 10,000 instead of 5. So this really just helps with magic numbers. It's potentially a 13k booster or an 18k booster, and the fact that it's not really even a boost, it's just a passive power game, means you could even do something as whack as having like an aggro veil in front of it, swing with the aggro veil, and then after that you have a Felon somewhere else. You have like a Felon, right? And then you swing the Felon. When aggro veil disappears, you can just superior call something in front, and it will also benefit from the power. So that's pretty good. Even if you don't want to play such a weird combo-ish extension like play, it's still noteworthy because it's magic numbers, it's completely free. 13k is still cool, 18k is even better. So yeah. Then of course we have Fast Chase Liberator Josephus. Fast Chase Liberator Josephus has 2 skills. When rolled upon, you may look at the top card of your deck. If it's a unit card, you may call it. Exactly the same skill as Felon's on here, which is good. Yeah, it's funny that Liberators all share a common skill for this set. Its second skill is when placed from deck, Soul Blast 1 to countercharge 1. Then, if you paid the previous cost, you may choose to Soul Blast 1 again to draw. So it's not bad because Go Paladin, especially this deck, has a lot of soul because Aggro Veil exists to really just suck everybody up into core, and then you can just blast them up with stuff like this to get your resources back. Considering that you don't use soul for any soul blast, it's a great way to really use your soul. I understand that a lot of people instantly draw a comparison to Dindrain, and for good reason, but honestly you could choose to play both together. You could choose to play Dindrain if you really just want to if you are really tight on soul for your deck, because Dindrain can just choose the effect you specifically want and just pay for it, whereas Josephus needs you to pay 1 for countercharge or 2 for countercharge and draw. So if you can't risk that much soul, you generally do want to play Dindrain, but if not, Josephus is the better option in terms of that regard. Or if your deck is very CB heavy, I recommend you to play both. Then of course we move on to the triggers. And the grade 0 starter. You can play whatever starter you want, it's fine. We play a crit. You can just take my word for it, it's 8. 4 mark, Hiroshima. And of course, I just have to put this here as a returning factor, is our 4 Heal Guardians. They are grade 3s, not grade 0s. So yeah, I just want to point it out. This is the same from just now. So that actually wraps it up for Prominence Core. Wow, I managed to do under 20 minutes, but I'm gonna talk a bit more, so it's gonna drag a little bit. Honestly, I'm really excited because I've not done a V deck profile in so long, and this is a new V deck profile, so yeah, and the fact that I like Liberators a lot, so I'm just really generally really excited to even talk about it. Like I've mentioned in several parts of this video, is this deck going to be the best Go Paladin deck? Hell no. Is this deck going to be the worst Go Paladin deck? Absolutely not. It keeps to a very mediated power level, which is surprising when the whole deck is built around the most cancerous card in the clan, which is Percival. So I have to hand it to Keita Mori or whatever his designers are on. The fact that most V-Core decks are actually really balanced. And Prominence Core is no exception. I mean, as you see from the rest of these decks, you'll see that a lot of them are not bad, but they're not entirely broken. And that really is what makes it fun, honestly, with stuff like a relatively slower and more fun meta, more diverse decks. You know, Heal Guardians potentially scaring people off, you know, high aggression. Besides stuff like prisons, maybe this format is getting really fun. It's definitely a lot different from where we ended V. I mean, that was completely horrifying. But yeah, I would say somehow by not touching a format for almost 8 months and then giving us a relatively balanced set with a nice, you know, clan generic, which is the Heal Guardians, it's somehow better. So I'm looking forward to covering all of these V-Core decks. And I don't think my reflection section from now on is going to be that long, because there's really not much to say. They're all just decently good decks, except Reggie. Thank you all so much for watching. There will be another deck profile this week, and it will be on the Eradicators, so come back again this week, or I don't know, if I die, there probably won't be an Eradicators, but yeah, if I'm still alive, there's going to be an Eradicators video very soon, so check out for that, as well as Seekers. I think Seekers is definitely one of the next few I'm going to be doing, and maybe Tachi and whatnots, but eventually you'll see the whole lot of them. Thank you all so much for watching. I'll see you all next time. Goodbye.